I have 6 o'clock, and I'd like to call the August 3rd, 2026 Person County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. At this time, I do recognize we have a quorum. Commissioner Thomas, will you lead us in our invocation?
Please join me as I lead us in prayer. Our most kind and dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight thanking you for giving us another beautiful day. Lord, I want to thank you for watching over us, for taking care of us. God, we ask you to be with this group as we lead and make decisions for this county. Give us the knowledge that only you could give us to make the right and correct decisions that we can help this county thrive, God. God, we ask you to be with all our first responders, our EMS, our fire, our police, our sheriff's deputy, everyone that answers the call, God, to come and help people in time of need. Watch over them, keep them all safe, God, and just thank you for giving them the energy to answer that call. God, we ask you to be with all our troops, be with our leaders of this country, God. Forgive us of all our sins. Most importantly, God, we thank you for giving your Son to die on the cross so we may have eternal life. And God, we ask you just to forgive us where we wrong. And just go with us, lead us, guide us, keep us all safe. In your heavenly name I do pray. Amen.
Amen. Commissioner Royce, will you lead us in a pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Members of the board, you have the agenda before you. Are there any discussions of it or adjustments of said agenda?
Yes.
Commissioner Royster.
I would like to add a recognition for Ms. Camille A. Clay to our agenda for today.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor, please vote by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion's been approved, and we'll now hear that agenda item. Commissioner Royster.
Yes, so I will ask for Ms. Camille A. Clay to come to the podium. And I'm going to read something about you, Ms. Clay. So Camille recently graduated from Person Early College for Innovation and Leadership, we know as PEASL, in May 2026 with remarkable academic achievements. She earned an exceptional 3.957 unweighted GPA and 4.478 weighted GPA, graduating with summa cum laude honors and ranking second in her class. In addition to completing her high school diploma requirements, she simultaneously earned an associate's in arts degree, demonstrating an extraordinary commitment to academic excellence and college readiness. Her involvement in student council, where she has served as both class president and member at large, as well as her leadership role as treasurer of the National Honor Society, reflects her ability that she had to inspire her peers and contribute positively to her school community. Ms. Camille, with more than 120 documented service hours, she devoted her time to a variety of meaningful causes, including PBI Global, which is a project-based inquiry helping countries find innovative ways to obtain fresh water, Lead Seed Youth Program, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, community outreach efforts, school-sponsored service events, food drives, and educational initiatives. Her career aspirations in healthcare are evident through her completion of Certified Nursing Assistant certification, participation in a medical internship at Roxborough Family Medicine, and her nomination for the Congress of Future Medical Leaders Award of Excellence. Camille has also distinguished herself through prestigious opportunities and recognition, including participation in North Carolina's Governor's School, recipient of the Piedmont Community College Golden Laurel Award, the North Carolina Scholars Award, and the PEASL Grit Academic Excellence Award. She also received endorsements from the UNC system. And with this, Camille's educational experience and journey will continue at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro as a nursing student coming up this fall. So with all of that said, I nominated Camille Clay for a scholarship offered by the North Carolina Association of Black County Officials. And we received notification just last week that she was the winner and recipient of that scholarship for the upcoming school year. So during our annual session for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners in August, the weekend of August 21st, I know that much, we will have a luncheon in honor of Camille, where she will actually receive that award during that time. And I'm happy to say, Person County, we really haven't had representation when it comes to that award. So Camille is probably one of two, maybe three over the number of years that we've had representation within this particular organization to receive a reward, this scholarship. So I wanted to publicly congratulate you in front of everybody on YouTube and everything for this award. So is there anything you would like to say, Ms. Camille?
Just that I'm grateful for you nominating me and giving me this opportunity, and blessed to have won this prestigious award.
Thank you. We're proud of you.
All right. Next item is our informal comment period. Madam Clerk, do we have any to sign up?
Yes, sir, we do. We have one individual.
We have one individual. All right, we're set timer. The individual has the full 10-minute limit. Do remind them to address the board as a whole, not individual commissioners. Also, when you come to the microphone, please introduce your name and your resident address, please.
First speaker, well, only speaker, excuse me, is Jordan Puryear.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good evening, County Commissioners and everyone. My name is Jordan Puryear. It's nice to meet you all, and I hope your loved ones and friends are in good health.
Excuse me, ma'am, I'm sorry. Sir, we have a speaker, and if you can sit down because you're interrupting the
I
speaker.
understand that. I was given the wrong time, sir. So I'm
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry, ma'am, please continue.
Okay. Can I start all over?
Absolutely.
Can
Okay.
you also state
And
your
s-
address too, please?
Yes, Jordan Puryear, 2099 Gentry Ridge Road, Roxborough, North Carolina, 27574.
And IT reset timer for the full 10 minutes if needed.
Thank you so much. Okay. Good evening, County Commissioners and everyone. My name is Jordan Puryear. It's nice to meet you all, and I hope your loved ones and friends are in good health. Thank you for allowing me to address the matters of this Microsoft data center and the impact it will bring for all of us in our county as well as the surrounding areas. The following statement I'm about to present to you will hopefully provide insight into everyone's future here. I was born and raised here in Person County, North Carolina, just like my parents and their ancestors. I have the type of family that enjoys being outdoors, whether it's hunting, fishing, gardening, puppy playtime, and so forth. Also, we would eat locally sourced pulled pork while sitting on the patio listening to beach music. We are blessed to look at our backyard, accepting the sun's kisses on our faces. I love listening to the harmony of bird songs and watching tree leaves sway back and forth from the breeze while breathing fresh air. We're living in a thriving ecosystem, and I don't want anyone or any company to take away precious resources that, yes, we take advantage of. But at the end of the day, it belongs to the earth, and we need to respect that. In late 2024, we heard about an industrial park was being built in the Woodsdale area. As time passed, we, the local citizens, discovered that a data center would be developed. I did some reading and research, but I want to gather additional information about this data center. I am requesting a temporary 1 to 2 year pause regarding this Microsoft project, so all of us can take time to research the planning, the construction, and the impact of our environment once it is operational. I just want to ensure that our community will be able to thrive off of our natural resources, continuing to celebrate our cultures. So I came here tonight to ask a few questions about our future lives at Microsoft. How will the Microsoft data center affect our water supply during and several months after construction? Once it's built and complete, how many jobs will this create permanently? When is the next public meeting regarding the current events and or updates of this project, as we truly do not want to be left in the dark? There's no place like home, and I'll be back. No AI was used at all pertaining to this statement, questions, and research. I used my heart, my brain, and my courage. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That concludes our informal comment period. At this time, we have our discussion, adjustment, and approval of consent agenda. Any discussion or adjustment to the consent agenda?
I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda with 2 minor edits to the minutes, correcting the spelling of a name and adding one of the speaker's addresses to the last meeting.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right. Having hearing none, all in favor to approve the motion, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The consent agenda's been approved. Moving on to new business, item 7, funding request for Tar River Land Conservancy to purchase Dykes Track for preservation, conservation, and passive recreation. Mr. Hill.
Good evening, Commissioners. So I've come to you tonight as a member of course, the Parks Department, and of course the Person County Stormwater team. Have Nish and Sally here. So we just recently this month we've been talking to the Tar River Land Conservancy about a wonderful opportunity to help preserve 166 acres of land in Person County into a conservation easement. And this is a great way to offset stormwater, stormwater credits and so on and so forth, and help to accommodate our obligation to the state to pay into the stormwater program. And I'm going to let Derek come up and talk about this great opportunity. And like I said, it's very similar to the opportunity that took place in Mount Harmony. We also have Nish here in case any other questions have to be answered pertaining to stormwater.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate you making time on your busy agenda for me tonight. One of my team members who is intending to be here, Michelle Mound, is under the weather, so you get to have me tonight. Also representing the Conservancy is one of our board members, Nola Knaus, who, for those who might remember 2 years ago when I spoke to the Board of Commissioners, I think Commissioner Furrier and Commissioner Thomas were amongst those that I got to speak to that night. You'll remember Nola got up and spoke about her experience working with us as a landowner to put her family farm on the Flat River into a conservation easement that we hold. And I will see if I can get this to go forward. All right. Before I get to the Dykes Tract, just for the benefit of everyone, I'm going to give you a little bit of background, kind of get you back up to speed with who we are, what we do as an organization. We are one of 21 land trust nonprofit organizations that do land preservation across North Carolina. We work in an 8-county area, which happens to include Person County, and I'll come back to that here in a second. Our office is in Lewisburg because it's about centered in the 8 counties where we work. We have a full-time professional staff, but we also have a board of directors, and we have a lot of volunteers who work with us. We kind of meet the highest standards of work in the land conservation world through the accreditation program that's been established by the Land Trust Accreditation Commission, and we've been accredited now for about 13, going on 14 years. So, there we go. As a land trust, our mission is simple. We work with those who'd like to see some land set aside from development for any number of reasons. The first and foremost ingredient for us to do that work is landowners who want to see their land preserved and protected. But more importantly, be able to collaborate with governmental agencies and with the private sector to be able to raise the funds and be able to do the work that we need to do up to the standards that we have. These are the types of themes that really underscore the land protection work that we do, and I'll touch on a couple of those as it relates to the Dykes Tract here when we get to that in a second. Time? There we go. As you can see from the numbers, we've been rather successful as an organization preserving land over the last 26 years. And as you can imagine from the name of our organization, the Tar River Land Conservancy, most of our work has been focused on the Tar River and the major waterways that flow into the Tar River across those 8 counties. The Tar River actually begins here in Person County, in eastern Person County. The headwaters begin there, so you know that. And that's the reason Person County is part of our territory. We made a strategic decision, really, when the organization was founded, to work across all corners of the 8 counties we work in, which include other river basins. And really, for about 13 or 14 years, we've been focused on doing work in the Neuse River Basin portions of 3 of the counties where we work: Person County, Granville County, and Franklin County. And that's reflected in the land that we protected over those years. About 1/3 of the total acreage that we protected through our work is really in the Upper Neuse River Basin. So those are the areas that ultimately flow into Falls Lake. And you know, you're very familiar with the regulatory requirements as that relates to that watershed. Of the 4,000 odd acres that we actually own in Granville County in the Upper Neuse Basin, just shy of 1,000 acres of that land is actually open to the public with hiking trails. And these are tracts of land that we've acquired over the years with funding from partnerships from the private sector and from public agencies and local governments. And we strategically decided over a decade ago as an organization to figure out how we can open some of the lands that we're protecting for watershed protection to the public with hiking trails, a passive recreational approach. Needless to say, because we've done this now 5 times in Granville County, it's been very well received. And you can imagine the interest from people when you get a trail opened and they start to use it, they're very eager to see more. And between the municipalities in southern Granville County, Butner, Stem, and Creedmoor, it's been a great success collaborating, and they hear it from their citizens. The overwhelming response really to what we've done in Granville County has led us to look to see how we can replicate this model in other counties, which really is what led us 2 years ago to take the chance to acquire an 85-acre tract on Mount Harmony Church Road here in Person County that ultimately the county commissioners 2 years ago decided to invest in, contributing $50,000 of your stormwater fund money at that point towards a much larger cost project where your money was able to help us leverage over $500,000 of cash that came from both Durham and Raleigh's watershed programs downstream, but also to incentivize the landowner to do what was called a bargain sale below the appraised value. In addition to the funds that the county contributed toward that, you agreed to hold a conservation easement, which is essentially deed restrictions on that land to make sure no matter what happens in the future, it'll always be protected and kept off limits to development. And that's really a requirement from the city of Raleigh. They've been funding a lot of projects, not just ours, but other land conservancies that work in the Upper Neuse. And they've decided that really as an insurance plan, they want to see a conservation easement. But they prefer for the local government, the county government where the property is located to hold that, and you all agreed to do that. We've raised about $53,000 towards the cost since we acquired this land in two years ago towards what we eventually expect will be the cost to improve the site to be able to get public access, so we're starting to work on that. We've got an engineer who's working on the design for the parking area and the driveway, which we think will springboard us into the remaining private fundraising that we expect to do to be able to get the rest of the cost in place. Stay tuned on when that will be ready for the public to be open, but we're working very close with Nish and his team and John and his staff to give us feedback as we're designing and moving forward step by step on that project. Here's a few pictures of that site. and Rock Fork Branch is the stream that goes through, which is a tributary of Deep Creek, if I remember correctly, which flows into the Flat River. Beautiful site, mostly wooded. It'll make a great place for people to hike and get outdoors. So this brings me to the Dykes Tract, really the purpose for tonight's presentation. The goodwill, the good news, the success we had with the Mount Harmony project really led us to begin conversations with a number of landowners, or really begin again some conversations we'd had with folks that started many years ago. And one of those landowners was a lady named Kathy Dykes. And Kathy, along with her late husband, Dr. Jim Dykes, have owned 166 acres off of Helena Mariah Road, for since the early 2000s. She approached us about the idea of purchasing the land and preserving it, and was very enthusiastic about the idea that eventually it could be open to the public as well, with hiking trails, being aware of what we've done in person in Granville County and what we're planning to do at the Mount Harmony site. It's a beautiful tract of land, mostly wooded, a great site for watershed protection investment from a stormwater standpoint within what we understand would be the ideal investment from the IA rules, which every jurisdiction gets to decide how they want to put their money towards that. A lot of stream footage, and again, these are tributaries of Deep Creek. It's not a pristine site. There are some issues related to old farm trash and things. This is a property that has been used over the years for farming in various fashions, and part of our plan is not only to prepare it for public access, but get it cleaned up and to get it shipshape before we start preparing it for public access. There are 2 barns that are in pretty good shape, which I show here, and our goal is currently to maintain those, subject to some inspections that we'll need to have done and some review. But the larger of the 2 barns, the brick one is actually in great shape, and we're hoping to use that as a site for staging materials and equipment as we potentially acquire more and preserve more land in Person County that we're going to be maintaining for public access, and that's our goal. I want to say that John and Nish and Sally and a few other folks from your Person County staff joined us on a hike on the 25th of June to see it firsthand. I think we got a pretty good response. Everyone seemed to be very enthusiastic about this site as being something that would be worthy of an investment of these stormwater funds. And to our happiness, everybody who was interested left with a belly full of blackberries, which were plentiful and ripe for the picking the day that we were out there. So we know one thing that the hikers will enjoy later on. So let me get down to the brass tacks, the money part of this. Want too many slides, sorry. Go back one. Let's go in the wrong direction. All right. Am I doing this or someone else doing it? Let's jump in. There we go. So this is a costly project. When we look at the expenses, a lot of little expenses in here, but this is a property that is worth quite a bit based upon the appraisal that we had done. Now, the appraisal was a number of months ago, but based on our following of the market, we don't expect that the prices of land in southern Person County are going down. You probably would have a better idea. But the good news is apologize. There we go. The good news is that we actually are 97% of the way of covering all of those line item costs that I identified in the previous slide. And that is thanks to some very generous contributions that have been committed from the watershed programs downstream in Raleigh and Durham, but also from a very generous agreement to sell the land from the landowner well below the market value. Instead of the $1.7 million appraised value, Ms. Dykes has been very generous, and she's very enthusiastic and wants to see us succeed in this to the point where she is willing to sell for 1.1. So that's part of our agreement with her. And the good news is for her that because we are a 501c3 charity, selling to us actually can mean that she can recoup some of that in tax benefits later on if she so chooses. The Mount Harmony project also led us to some very generous Person County residents who have made an anonymous donation to us in the amount of $25,000, which with their blessing we've earmarked for this acquisition. Fingers crossed that we'll have more of that type of generosity that will come our way as we start doing this work and people can see the great benefits. But needless to say, there are a lot of folks out there who are excited and will be ready to use these sites for the public access that we're envisioning when that time comes. The final piece of the puzzle we're hoping that you all can help us fill in, which is $50,000. Same as we asked 2 years ago on the Mount Harmony project, but in this case, a much bigger leverage. 97% that we're bringing to the table for the 3% that you all would be contributing. Similar to what took place 2 years ago on the Mount Harmony project, we'd also ask that the Person County Commissioners agree for the county to hold the conservation easement. Again, a stipulation, a requirement from the city of Raleigh, who's putting in the lion's share. They would prefer for the local government to hold it, and we worked that out 2 years ago and hoping you'd be willing to do that again. Really, it's an insurance policy for everybody involved. There's no real likelihood that the Conservancy is ever going to have a mind to do anything other than keep this land in preservation, but it gives the assurance from a legal standpoint that that is the only thing that can happen going forward. That's what the conservation easement requires. All right, so to kind of wrap this up, some key points. So the project really is going to honor the rural character and the long history of land stewardship in Person County by keeping a wonderful tract of land together and remove it from the development roles as the landowner has requested and desires. We're going to follow the same model that we did 2 years ago. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. It just happens to be a different property and more money come to the table from the partners than we were able to bring last time. If you're able to do this and you decide to contribute from your stormwater funds, it goes towards the credits of what you are obligated to spend the money towards within the broad set of categories, but that happens to include land acquisition, which is a great thing. You'll help us leverage a very significant amount of money in cash grants from the downstream folks who like to see land preservation up in the watershed, but also see the great benefits of public access where we're able to do this work. You would hold the conservation easement on this land if you agreed to it, and then our goal in due course, without a firm timeline behind it, is to create a public nature preserve building on the success we've done elsewhere and really following that model and believing that we will have the support from the community, and if you build it, they will show up and start using it. So really, to wrap this up, there are two things that we have asked for in the resolution that was drafted, which follows the resolution from 2 years ago for the Mount Harmony project, which is a contribution of $50,000 towards the acquisition of this tract of land. The money would go from Person County directly to the closing attorney's trust account at the time right before closing. We've retained Christy Grissom, who does most of our closings here in Person County, whose office is just not too far from here in Roxborough. And then also, as a second part of the resolution, for the county to hold a conservation easement. I want to thank you all for giving us a chance to bring this to you again. I hope I've not led you astray on anything or left you behind on any of my comments, but I'm very happy to answer questions or turn it back over to John for you all to ask him some key questions about what would be the pros and cons of you all doing this.
Commissioner comments, questions?
Did anyone in Person County receive a copy of the appraisal?
No, but we could provide it. Yep. The Raleigh folks have, Durham folks have, yeah. Good.
Any other questions?
John, what's your plans?
So
Are you gonna be able to pull an abracadabra and take all this money and get some more grant money like we did
Well, don't know yet. This is we'll have to see how that works out. No, this is just we bringing this to you because we feel like this is a great opportunity. I mean, we're getting ready to go, and I'll let Nish Rabetti, if you want to come and talk a little bit about the IAI project program. You know, you're getting ready to start another round of that, and that's what got the initial needing to spend the certain allotment. We're getting ready to start that over again. This is just a good opportunity to pay into our stormwater credits. You know, we know that there's a lot of development going on in the southern part of Person County. This is a great way to offset some of that rural with the economic development, so on and so forth. It falls right into our strategic plan of the heritage of Person County preservation, outdoor recreation, so on and so forth. But it just seems like a great fit, very similar to the Mount Harmony track.
Ms. Kathy, we would not be appropriating money outside of the budget that we've already passed, right? This money would be coming from stormwater that would be spent anyway?
So
Is that right?
this is from available fund balance within the stormwater fund. It has not been allocated yet, so there would need to be a budget amendment to allocate this $50,000. But this is money within the stormwater fund that needs to be spent on projects to preserve the watershed.
So what happens if we don't spend this money?
Well,
I know
right-
the answer to the question, I
Okay.
want everybody else to know.
So it will accumulate in fund balance within the stormwater fund, which is separate from the general fund. But as they mentioned, we are part of the UNRBA, the Upper Neuse River Basin Association. We have obligations as part of that membership to use funding towards stormwater projects. And we are concluding the first phase of the interim alternative implementation agreement, to where we had to spend a certain amount. We funded the original Triangle or Tar River Land Conservancy project. We've funded Centennial Park using those funds, and we've also done a stormwater project out at the Sportsplex. So we've invested in all of those activities to help improve the watershed. So this is another example of a project where we could use that funding, and that's going to go towards our obligation to the UNRBA.
Would it be a fair statement to say that if we didn't spend this money for a project in Person County, we could end up having to spend this money for a project outside of Person County?
Well, that is certainly the case. You can see you have other jurisdictions investing in this particular project. So yes, we will be obligated to spend funding one way or the other, and it's nice that we have this project identified here in Person County, and that we are benefiting from others' efforts to invest in the watershed and to have this type of project here.
Thank you. The defense rest.
Thank you.
Ready for comments?
Yes, ma'am,
Okay.
comments?
I see it a different way. So from the information I have, the properties were purchased for a combined total of about $340,000 in the early 2000s. The most recent county appraisal from the countywide revaluation assessment, which we received complaints from residents about being too high, was a combined value of about $735,000. In 2024, these tracts, or at least one of them, was included in a lawsuit against the county, which is still under appeal in opposition to the county's decision on the zoning for the Mariah Energy Center. So now we're told there's an appraisal, which we didn't receive a copy of, that values the land at $1,744,000, about $1 million more than the county's most recent reappraisal, and $1.4 million more than the original purchase price. So I have to think that that appraisal was based on using the land sales for the Mariah Energy Center as comps. And so I want to pause right there and note that the Mariah Energy Center did not negatively impact property values in that area, and apparently it greatly increased the values. The way the ownership is listed on the tax card indicates that the land has been placed in an IRA, and the packet says there would be a tax benefit to the owner of $629,000. So from Person County's side, we would be paying $50,000 to purchase the property that we have not seen the appraisal for, which is included in a lawsuit against the county, and we would be foregoing all future tax revenue from the property and giving up what we receive from it now. On top of that, we have the city of Raleigh and the city of Durham paying to buy land in Person County that would be exempt from all future development and tax revenue. So we already have a 280 acre park less than 4 miles from the property as the crow flies. We have 85 acres in the Mount Tirzah community, which is also in the southeastern part of the county. There's other property out there in conservation easements. And there's a statement in the agreement that says the development of the property would impair the scenic and rural character of the property and its surrounding areas, which I wholeheartedly disagree with. There's only about 165 feet of road frontage to the 166 acres, and many types of development are compatible with rural character. It also says that any agricultural uses would have to be approved by the Conservancy, so that those guidelines are unknown. And, you know, it makes me wonder how much land has been placed in permanent conservation easements in the cities of Raleigh and Durham.
County Attorney, I'm sorry, are you finished, Vice Chair? The existing litigation against the county, can you go into detail about that?
Yes, sir. So Ms. Wilburn has correctly stated that the Dykes property, Mr. Dykes or Dr. Dykes was originally one of the plaintiffs in the litigation. He has since passed on. His estate remains a plaintiff in the litigation. There is both a matter pending in the Superior Court and in the Court of Appeals for which they are parties. And just to refresh the board's memory, this is challenging the rezoning that authorized the Mariah Energy Center, which is to the west along Helena Mariah Road.
And that litigation is still pending?
Yes, sir, it is. And the parties have briefed in the Court of Appeals. Knowing how the Court of Appeals works, they will probably issue a ruling next year, but there will likely be additional litigation at the trial court level relating to that case.
And the property owner is directly connected to that lawsuit?
The estate of Dr.
Estate.
Dykes is one of the plaintiffs named in the lawsuit, yes, sir. And I would say it is the same parcel that's identified in the lawsuit as is, being proposed for acquisition tonight.
So, two years ago when we approved when we were very supportive of your efforts, and I commend you for your efforts. And, I just have a bad taste in my mouth being involved, getting this property, being assisting using public funds, and there's an existing lawsuit going against this county at the same time by the entity, the property owner. I'm not against the project as a whole, but being that it's currently being under appeal, it's existing litigation, we're having to use legal fees to defend the county's interest in that, and we would be contributing public funds towards the sale to the entity of the property owners.
I would like to make a statement about that. Listening to what everyone has said, it appears that, and as Commissioner Wilburn stated, the lawsuit with the Mariah Energy Center, and I know a lot of that came from those people in that community wanting to preserve their land, wanting pretty much what has been presented to us this evening, preserve their land, not, staying within Person County's rural character, all of those types of things. So that is the reason of the lawsuit, because they were against Mariah Energy Center coming in, messing up. And I attended one before I was a commissioner, I'll be honest, I attended one of those residential meetings and messing up the landscape. And I went out there and during that time and walked the grounds with some of those residents. And that was the reason of the lawsuit, to do pretty much what they wanted to keep what this particular Tar River Land Conservancy funding request, what they're trying to do. And the reason for the lawsuit is because they felt the county was not trying to protect what makes Person County with the land and all the agriculture pieces of that. That's an area I kind of grew up in as a kid as well, farming and all of that. So I get what you all are saying, but at the same time, the reason of the lawsuit was to protect or to save the area of what they're presenting on tonight. If that came out correctly, if you all can understand that. Okay.
And that's a very valid point, Commissioner Royster. I would just feel better if there was no existing lawsuit in place while we doing this transition. So, you know, if tomorrow if those lawsuits dropped, because it's at the appeal level right now. You said it could take a year on that. I mean, but it does, being that there's an existing litigation against the county of Person, and this piece of property is indirectly involved with that lawsuit. I'm not saying that let's just say that I think that this would be a lot smoother if that existing litigation wasn't in existence against the county.
I have another question. How, I guess I know in other circumstances, if there are current or present lawsuits and transactions are being made, there's usually a halt to prevent that from happening. So how is it that they were able to get this far with this one with a current lawsuit in place?
And if I understand your question, Commissioner Royster, how was the proposed land conservation deal able to get this far? Well, there's kind of two things there. Sometimes you'll see people, there's a judgment creditor that's trying to get money and someone tries to sell their land to avoid that. Well, there are laws that prevent that. But in this case, if the Tar River Land Conservancy were to buy the land, I think the legal result would be that the Dykes estate would no longer have standing to be a party to the lawsuit. So presumably at that point, they would, file a dismissal, or the county might make a motion to dismiss. But I don't think there's anything that in the lawsuit prevents the land transaction from happening, if that's the way it goes.
How many parties are there to this lawsuit? Several?
There's more than a few. If you just give me 1 second. Yep, I've got it right here. So we have Christopher Clayton, the estate of James Russell Dykes, by and through the executor, Bernhard Lampert, Mary Amanda Hamill, John Hoffman, Sherry Jill Stowers Hoffman, David Thompson, and Doris Ann Thompson. And Person County and Public Service Company of North Carolina are the defendants.
My fiduciary responsibility to the county would not allow me to contribute public funds, to a property owner that has a lawsuit against the county active. And I also reject the notion that industrial development is not in line with rural character. I hope we all do, because we're going down if we don't have that tax base. And as I previously stated, the agreement does not guarantee that there would be agricultural uses on the property.
Well,
I have a problem now with using taxpayer money with a lawsuit pending. It's a bad taste in my mouth too.
what I would suggest, and every commissioner's comments tonight has merit to it, and I would like to pose an alternative here until we get a better taste in our mouth on this. I wouldn't say no, wouldn't say yes. I would like to, if there's no existing litigation between the estate of the property owner and the county of Person, we should hear it again and there's no litigation.
That's fair enough.
But until that litigation has been heard, judged, or dismissed, or withdrawn, I have a hard time using county funds for someone that's costing this county to defend itself, in the terms of legal fees. So I would entertain a motion to table this for future discussion, up to 6 months, because a lot of work has gone into this. The Board of Commissioners did have a vision for this 2 years ago. Me and Commissioner Thomas participated in that vote, and it was a unanimous vote for to use $50,000 from, and this is a good purpose. This is, everything John said tonight is true. It's just difference, there's a different circumstance, and I'm sure some people can see our point of view on this as well. So, but do I have a motion to entertain?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion to table this for a period up to 6 months, pending review of the existing litigation, and county attorney, county manager, if there's any change in said litigation, please inform the commissioners immediately so that this board or the future board will be able to rehear this again.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Right, thank you.
Wait, what did you
Oh, I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself. All right, I have a motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
No.
Okay. Okay. 3-2, passed. The motion has been tabled up to 6 months. Thank you.
And, I'd like to ask the manager to obtain a copy of the appraisal.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 8, North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, 2027 to 2028 legislative goal proposals. County manager.
Good evening. We began this discussion at the last Board of Commissioner meetings on July 20th. And based on the feedback that was received during that meeting, and then there was also an opportunity to provide feedback to me directly through email following the meeting, I have drafted a letter which would convey to the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners 7 legislative goals proposals that the Person County Board of Commissioners would be supportive of for the upcoming biennium. And just to refresh your memory, the association does provide advocacy on behalf of counties, and moving forward with this letter would authorize the chair to sign, and I would submit this letter to the NCACC, and it would include the 7 goals listed on pages 112 and 113 of your agenda packet. So if the commissioners would like to do any edits to that letter, do any additional goals, that's open for discussion tonight because this is still in draft form.
Any comments from the commissioners? Is everyone good with the draft letter?
Thank you for compiling that. We got, some significant news that week that we took precedent over responding, so thank you for putting that together from
Sure.
our comments at our last meeting.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the letter of submitting the 2027-2028 legislative goal proposals to the NCACC?
So moved.
We have a motion. All in favor, please vote by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion's been approved. Chairman's report, as you all well know, our county manager, has decided to move on to the next chapter of her life. I sent a letter out to all county employees, I believe last week, and want to ensure, first off, thank you for your service to the county. Really appreciate your dedication and your commitment. You duly put your best foot forward, and O'Gallen's getting a good town manager. So just want to thank you for your service, and I want to ensure as I ensure the employees of Person County, I want to ensure the residents of Person County as well as a whole, that this board is working on a transition plan to take the next steps involving the transition of hiring an interim county manager and move forward to where we're eventually at a place to where we can hire the best candidate to serve Person County as the next county manager. Thank you.
And thank you, and thanks to all of you. It is certainly with mixed emotions that I submitted my resignation. I have truly enjoyed, it's been a privilege to work here in Person County. I've enjoyed working with all of you, with all the county employees, with the citizens here and the people who come and work and play here. It's been a really great experience, and I am looking forward to the next 2 months, continuing to work on the initiatives that we have in place and addressing the needs that are here and working with you all to ensure a smooth transition. So thanks to you all again.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, any other comments? Okay. Vice Chair Wilburn?
Thank you. The first turbine was delivered to the Duke project for the new plant, one of the new plants out there. So I was excited to see that go by and have that process moving forward. There was a ribbon cutting for Zachary at the Piedmont Community College South Campus. They are actively hiring for that project. Some really good opportunities there that I think will turn into long-term jobs. Our EDC meeting was canceled. Our main speaker had to cancel on us at the last minute due to an injury. And that was about 40 minutes of our meeting, and that was also the day we had inclement weather in the forecast. So that meeting was canceled, but I do hope that we will have some good news about a project to share very soon. The District 8 caucus meeting was held for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, and we did vote to install someone from Vance County. There's a rotation that generally takes place within the COG region. And so my seat on that board was as the district director. So after the August meeting, we'll start the new year, and I will roll off of that board. So we will not have county representation on that board. There are some different ways to get county representation on the board. It can come through someone being a chair of a committee. The NACO rep, if we had someone who was a past president on the board, and there may be a couple of other ways, but I just want to make you all aware that that change will take place after August. And several weeks ago, I mentioned that I had seen an email go out to county employees about more space heaters. And today I saw an email go out about the option for space heaters. So since I publicly said something about that last time, I publicly want to say thank you for all the Cold Hatred people for bringing those back. And commenting on the manager's news, congratulations. I read the press release that said something like you beat out about 50 other applicants, so that's phenomenal, but not surprising, so congratulations.
Thanks.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yeah, speaking on the turbine, it's actually on YouTube. They made a video of that being installed. That was pretty cool. I've seen that. And just go feeding off of Catherine's news, and wish you the best. We started together, and I know you'll do a great job, Oak Island, so
Thank you.
wish you the best.
Commissioner Worcester?
Okay, first, I would like to also say congratulations, Catherine, on your next chapter of your county city management journey. I would also like to recognize, and she'd already gone, our GIS Director, Sally Vaughn, for being the governor's appointee to the NCACC, for the State Geographic Information Coordinating Council, and chair of its local government committee, and she left. But I wanted to recognize her. Also, I missed last commissioners meeting because I was attending a NACO conference and it was really busy. But I wanted to highlight a few things from there that impacts us here in Person County. Firstly, the federal government are now requiring additional steps when reporting the use of federal funds. So pretty much, if the federal government does not agree of how funds are being used through their new reporting systems, they will take funding away. And I kind of already thought something like that was in place, but they've added some additional measures. I did, in a couple of my committee meetings, find out that they're requiring additional information, particularly for programs connected to human services and public health. Also highlighted there is for counties to remember that economic development is more than industry, and it also includes amenities, schools, and childcare. And there was a lot of emphasis on supporting the workforce with children, especially those needing childcare, because if they do not have childcare, they cannot come to work. I attended our health department meeting on July 27th, and there have been some legislative changes that permits are no longer needed for ag wells. So there were some discussions about that. We have one known case of the cyclosporasis, stuff that's going around throughout the country, but we have one known case here in Person County, and again, that has been linked to iceberg lettuce, parsley, and cilantro. I do want to highlight some things about data centers, because while at NACO, I don't know how many of these workshops that I attended, and everyone that was offered, I made sure I was in the room. So there are concerns about the county regarding data centers. I think all of us have our own concerns at different levels here as well. I hope that there will be a tour of a facility soon so we can see what's potentially coming here. While at these lectures and workshops, I spoke to and had sit-downs with county leaders from across this country who were either totally for data centers, totally against them, or somewhere in between. These included conversations where communities where data centers were done right and were beneficial to everyone, as well as those communities where data center development they were not so good. I've spoken with Mike Turner several times. He's the vice chair of the Loudoun County, Virginia Board of Supervisors. He wrote a white paper titled Loudoun County, VA, Data Center Capital of the World, a strategy for a changing paradigm. And for those who do not know, Loudoun County, Virginia has the most concentrated area of data centers in the world. And his paper is online, and it gives some recommended best practices for communities before data centers are developed in your community, and I brought a copy of that here. I said all of this to say this: we know Microsoft is coming, but as a leader in this community, I understand the potential millions of dollars of tax revenue that this industry will bring to Person County. I would not oppose us making sure and taking a pause to make sure that these things are done correctly from hearing the stories of counties where it was not. And I don't want those things to happen here, and I don't think any of us do. So we need to take into account any potential environmental hazards as well as our neighbors who live near this development. So with this, just to make sure we're supporting projects, we need to make sure there are projects that we're supporting just because they are going to bring a lot of money, but at the same time sacrificing the livelihood of our neighbors at any cost. So I'm advocating right now for us just to make sure that this is done correctly, no shortcuts, and that it will be beneficial to everyone in this county. Lastly, I would like to thank all the community groups who offered summer camps and activities for the youth in Person County and making sure that they have been fed this summer. I'm not going to name them because I know I'll leave somebody out. But thank you for all that you do. And with that being said, you all will be hearing from me because our newly elected NACO president, who is also a county commissioner down in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, Mr. George Dunlap, announced his new initiative during our conference, and his initiative is Building Better Futures. And he has charged every county who is represented in NACO, Person County being one, we have to report out a new initiative as county leaders that we are doing for our youth here. So I have a little under 1 year to work on an initiative with some community partners. So those of you who are youth directors or youth leaders in our community, send me an email. My email address is aroyster@personcountync.gov so that we could come together and we will be able to report out to the nation what Person County is doing for their youth. So that's all I have this evening.
Commissioner Long.
Daggone, it's hard to beat all that. I had to go behind y'all. Okay, I attended the Board of Adjustment meeting on 7/21. We've heard a lot about Zachary, and I agree with that. I'd like to mention that Roxborough Community School will be celebrating their 20-year anniversary on August the 29th at 1 p.m. and they've invited us to participate or come out if we'd like. Mayo Lake Group and Duke Energy will meet again tomorrow. And the Purple Heart Memorial dedication is this Friday at the Veterans Park next door at 6 p.m. And apparently that it will be installed and ready for the dedication by Friday. So I'd like to encourage everybody to come out and attend that. Thank you.
Thank you. Having no further business, do I have a motion to go into closed session of one per Virginia Statute 143-318.11A6 for the purpose of discuss personnel with the following individuals permitted to attend: County Manager Catherine Cathy, Clerk of the Board Michelle Sullivan, and County Attorney T.C. Morpheus Jr. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
I have a motion. All in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We're now in closed session. All right, we're now back in the open session. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So
We have a motion. All in favor, please vote by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Meeting's adjourned.